Hey everyone, so welcome back. I recently just concluded my latest tournament at the Rochester Open in Minnesota, and as a slight spoiler alert, this is probably my worst tournament ever. So having just come off winning the state championship, and I just said winning, what the hell? Winning the state championship, and then almost qualifying for nationals. Yeah, it's been a hot streak. So the higher up you go, the further you have to fall. So in these recaps, I hope to, obviously show the games and try and teach as much as I can. I don't know why I can't talk today. Um, but I also just kind of want to dive into, I guess, the psyche of what it's like what happens when you are having a shit time. Like, can you bounce back? Like, what goes through your head? What is competitive chess actually like? So, I hope to try to uh, describe it well. But anyways, this is round one, and I was up against National Master Josiah Joranby. So I've actually faced him twice before, and I got cooked both times before. I had good chances to win both. Um, but yeah, let's just get into it. So I start off the game with c4. I've been playing the English recently instead of e4, and I've been quite enjoying it. So he played knight f6. It's the most flexible option. Yeah, I can't talk, so just bear with me today. Because it doesn't commit any pawns. He's not deciding to go g6, e6. He hasn't gone c5. I don't know if this pawn's going one or two forward. This pawn's going one or two forward. So I develop knight to c3. And eventually we get this move order where he goes e5 right away. And here I know that I can now, technically, I believe I can go into this opening. Well, actually, this is just blunder a pawn. But I know that this is actually pretty good for white. However, I assume that if he's playing this e5 move order, he probably knows this system better than me, and I don't know it. So I just went g3. This is called the Botvinnik. You go for the same setup each time, where you create this setup. This is the full Botvinnik. You pretty much play it against anything black plays with some variance, and it's nice because you can either choose to go on the queen side, the middle, or the king side. You always have the flexibility of the plans, and yeah, and it's usually pretty comfortable, although there can be some trickiness as to which plan and when to go for it, as we will soon see. So he went knight d7, and here the computer claims this was like my best chance to start pushing by going immediately f4. However, in my head, I'm like, okay, his knight is going to c5, and so I would love to be able to potentially play b4, b5. So instead of going for f4, I play this move knight d5, and now if he does go knight c5, I actually can just play b4 with tempo, and maybe even b5. And now I already have my pawns going on the queen side, and look, it's the same position except this pawn has now moved forward, 3 squares. So that's why he replied a5, which I thought was very reasonable. And again, here I should be playing f4. However, at this point of the game, I started making some pretty weird decisions. And I thought for a while here, and I'm like, okay. In my head, I was debating between do I play on the queen side by trying to play for b4, by still trying to go for this to kick the knight, or do I play f4? And honestly, I have no idea why I didn't just play f4 here. Because after e takes, bishop takes, or yeah, I'm pretty sure I can take and then just push my g pawn. But yeah, I decided to play this move rook b1, which admittedly it's pretty slow because I'm not even really threatening to play b4 essentially, because let's say after he went in the game knight c5, if I go b4 now, I mean, sure, I got my plan, but now I'm just dropping a pawn. I have no real pawn play on the queen side, and there's nothing. So this move, it just feels a bit slow because the computer's like, you need to play for f4, and I mean, admittedly, I agree now in hindsight, but in the moment, I was overthinking myself, but I thought it was pretty reasonable because, now if this bishop ever opens, it's never going to be hitting my rook on a1. So while yeah, it isn't a great move, it's certainly not the worst one I could be making. Well, we'll get to that. So so in the game, I played another weird move, which is knight e to c3, and my idea was I'm gonna go for this little setup where I'm gonna push for f4, and then maybe I'm even threatening to go knight b5 immediately, hit the pawn. But I don't really know why I underestimated so much in the game, but the problem with moving my knight to c3 is that he can just, plant his knight on d4. And now knight b5 doesn't work. I just let his knight get to a perfect square, and now what? Like, he's going to kick my knight on the next move, and like this is already feeling like I'm losing the thread. Like I'm not, like it's tricky. The botvinnik can be tricky of when to play for this stuff, so it definitely just means I need to look at it more. So now I play f4, and the moment I choose to play it, it's the shitty moment. Um, I assume probably just going bishop e3. Oof. No, that traps my knight. Um, Probably just, what the heck? What is the move here? Um, this engine just, oh yeah, that's intuitive. The computer just says, oh yeah, obviously you should just go and move your knight back. Yeah. Um, so yeah, now I play f4, but the problem with f4 is that when you're opening the board, generally you want to make sure that your pieces are better placed than their pieces, like to be able to handle the transformation. But the problem is that after the following sequence, these knights aren't really doing anything. My rook is kind of weird. My bishop hasn't developed. This bishop's open, and he has these two perfect knights, a really strong dark squared bishop, and now his queen just enters the game, and I've opened up the board, sure, but I'm just not, ready for it. Like my pieces just aren't prepared. So this is like, how it gets punished at these higher levels, how it's like slow, slightly inaccurate play gets punished. So I play f5 because I'm like, what else? What else do I have? Let's go for glory here. So he went bishop e5, and I went knight g4. And after he took, and I took his bishop, I know in the game, I was like, okay, I'm clearly not doing great here, but I definitely didn't think that it was the end of the world. Now, admittedly, that is because I'd spotted the best defensive resource, and had I not found that, I'd probably be absolutely screwed here. But I found this really nice move, knight e2. And the point is that while it looks like it gives up the center, actually, I am able to get rid of my problems, which are this d3 pawn. This d3 pawn sucks. He's ready to open up my center and win, just win pawns. And so by trading everything, suddenly this is hanging. Heck, his knight can't even take back because rook f4 just immediately wins. And I've just neutralized. Like I've got rid of my weakness and everything is great. So I see this and I'm like, okay, perfect. Knight e2. So takes, and already he goes wrong. He goes f4. And immediately I find the move, which is just d4. It makes sense because this is my biggest weakness, right? He is lunging forward, and so I'm always just like focusing on, okay, his plan is to do this, so what if I just break up his pawns? Now I'm cooking. So he must have missed this when he played f4, otherwise I don't know why he would have played this. So he attacks my queen, and here I spent about 10 minutes deciding, okay, do I move my queen, and if so, where, or do I block with the bishop? And eventually I decided that blocking with the bishop is the only move, which the computer corroborates, simply because I enjoy where my queen is, and after the following trade, I am now lined up on the battery. I've got rid of my bad piece. He's traded his bishop for my bishop that, wasn't really doing anything. So yeah, so I just got rid of another attacking piece, and clearly it feels like I survived. Like it's move 22. I was under some problems there, like I was clearly, misplaying. But after he went knight e6, and then I took back in the center, materials equal. We have an equal amount of pawns on the queen side, so this should be equal. Besides the fact that he probably has quicker pawn play, but I don't really think it's anything serious. And the only problems to really consider are obviously the g-file. And then any tactics, like here, you do not want to take this pawn. That would not end bad. That would not end well. So queen g2 pins the knight. And after he moved the king, if you ever played competitive chess, there is this rule called touch move. And touch move pretty much means if you touch a piece, even if it is on accident, you have to move it. So in this position, I knew what my move should be. Just move the king out of the way, and then I win this pawn in the next turn. Boom. That's it. Then I can probably draw him, because I know I can draw a National Master in a position like this, and I'm good. But my dumbass, in like 2 seconds, for some reason touched my rook, and I don't know why I was even thinking of taking her, because he just forks me. Like there was something that misfired. But after I touched my rook, I was like, oh fuck, because because now he's just gonna do this, and I'm dead. Because the touch move rule. Could have had a draw. So I would like you to observe this eval bar on the left. It says equal, and I would agree. I had to choose between the lesser of the evils. Where do we move the rook? I don't really want to move it here because, I mean, I lose. And if I move it here, I blunder it. So yeah, so I'm like, okay, come get me. Now notice that it is no longer equal. Um, so he goes rook g8, and at this point of the game, I mean, it's just all about surviving. So I'm like, you know what? We're gonna run the king. This is actually pretty creative by me. So knight h3 opens up the rook, and funnily enough, I actually realized that after he gave me a check, he doesn't really have anything. Like he doesn't have a secondary check. He would love, to have some sort of finishing blow, but at the end of the day, hypothetically, I can survive this. That was kind of like what was going through my head. It's like, this sucks. I'm gonna get checkmated, but maybe I can survive. So he brings the other rook in, and I go bishop d2 with a simple idea to hide my king. I'm sure there was better, but at this point in the game, I mean, I'm losing the touch move. So he checks me, and now he plays this move, which we both kind of agreed made things a bit unnecessarily complicated, because there were way cleaner ways. Like he just has, knight g1, and this is just brutal, because not only is my queen, pretty much trapped, but let's even say, I don't know, let's say I take here, then suddenly, he's gonna check me. There's problems here. He's gonna bring, the knight in, and actually, he can just win my queen immediately, just for starters. And then if I go here, for instance, I mean, it's just over. But at least in this case, I'm able to get 2 rooks for the queen, and suddenly I'm back in the game. If I take the knight. Which, in hindsight, makes sense for a very concrete reason, which is that I give the f7 pawn, and even though this, looks scary, I guess I'm probably just gonna win this. And because his king is so cut away, my rooks should be able to make a draw here. But what I thought in the game was more so the fact that, I thought to myself, okay, his king, if I can somehow get my bishop on this diagonal, there's probably going to be good counterplay, and so that's what I mistakenly thought in my head because I'm tilting, I'm getting cooked, and I still thought I was completely losing. I have no idea, it's a draw here, I have no idea what the eval is for any of the game, and so I don't trade rooks. I don't trade. So I played rook f4, and pretty much we get this sequence where I'm forced to give up one of my rooks so that we can go into this endgame to a rook and bishop versus queen, but he has a passed pawn. Now this can hypothetically be a draw if I can keep this king out of the game, win this pawn, and then somehow, put all my pawns so that they're guarded by my bishop. Then it's probably a draw, but, he's a national master. I'm sure he'll find the way. And I'd love to, go into depth about this endgame, but in reality, I'm trying to activate. He's repelling me. He makes a new queen to activate his pieces, and I give it a solid attempt. But he catches me at the moment that my pieces aren't coordinated, and I resign here on move 78 of this game, because no matter where my king moves, I am going to lose. If I ever move on a light square, well, he goes here, look, up, he wins my rook. Up, he wins my rook. Side, he wins my rook. Um, diagonal. Wait, I mean, this probably just he wins my bishop. Like, I mean, it was yeah, that it sucks. It sucks losing the first round, but at the end of the day, I'm up against the national master. This dude got second. Like he beat everyone except for the number one guy who is an international master. He like gained 40 rating points, went all the way back 2200. I really can't be upset. He was having a great tournament. He was in good form. I could have drawn, but I touched my rook. Don't do that. Don't touch your pieces until you're like absolutely certain you're gonna move them. Otherwise, it sucks. So yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow for the next recap.